destroying the country so they can, quote, save it, right? With their radical socialist policies is a Democrat playbook, and we are seeing it in full effect this election cycle as we are finally getting a glimpse at some of the policies Kamala plans to enact if she wins the White House, and they are straight out of a communist playbook. As the election approaches, it typically boils down to one simple question. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? But I think the real question all Americans must ask themselves is this one. Do you want the America you know and love to continue to exist? After all, this nation is on the precipice of a total collapse. $5 billion already spent in New York City to care for the illegals. That number expected to soon double. If New York City falls, other cities will follow. Meantime, young illegal aliens now behind numerous attacks and robberies, some as young as 11 years old. Think about that. An 11-year-old, a child attacking people, robbing them. An estimated 20 million illegals have now invaded this country. And the Democrat candidate for president has openly stated that she wants to get rid of ICE, immigration and customs enforcement, and she wants to release all of those currently detained.
When you become president, would you be committing to close the immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one.
Unbelievable. She's not even hiding it. I mean, let's take a look at some of the policy ideas coming from the Harris camp. Abolish ICE and close ICE detention centers, give illegals taxpayer-funded health care and housing, an automatic release for illegal border crossers. And it doesn't stop there. Fly illegals directly to U.S. towns, give citizenship to over 20 million illegals, and allow them to be eligible for Medicare and Social Security. The Harris campaign wants this destruction. They want it. They want all of this chaos. So then they can swoop in with their tyrannical policies, another rounds of lockdowns and curfews, all in the name of safety. And worst of all, your tax dollars, it's paying for this invasion, while Americans struggle to even put food on the table.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
Who do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, imagine a mother living on food stamps.
Well, she's right. Of course it's the government's fault. But con artist is now trying to convince Americans that costs are up because companies are price gouging. Harris is planning to unveil a plan to set prices on food. Guys, she is finally showing her hand. She wants the government to have control over the entire food supply. She's not the leader we need to fix this economy. The one that she helped drive into the ground with Joe Biden. Earlier today, she was bragging about casting the tie-breaking vote on the so-called Inflation Reduction Act.
2 years ago, as vice president, I was proud to cast the tie-breaking vote that sent the bill that gave Medicare the power to negotiate and let it get to the president's desk. And I was proud when our president, Joe Biden, signed that bill into law.
Nothing to be proud of. The act, by the way, resulted in higher prices and fewer choices for those on Medicare. And as a child of parents who fled a communist regime, I know how all of this ends, all of Kamala's policies ends. Declaring war on capitalism, that's the first step to total domination by the elite ruling class. You don't have to take my word for it. Bloomberg and Reuters put together this graphic showing how Venezuela's inflation spiked following Maduro's election when Maduro implemented price controls. The Biden-Harris regime fueled inflation by declaring war on the fossil fuel industry. And as a result, everything and anything transported is now more expensive. And rather than allow refineries to drill for more oil, we're instead buying it at a much higher cost from countries like Iran. More mullah for the mullahs, of course, to the tune of billions of dollars. Hence why Iran now wants Trump dead.
Iran was in no position to attack. They had no money. They were broke. But now they have $221 billion, and they have Iraq, who has $300 billion, and Iraq has become a subsidiary of Iran. With all that we've done, with all of the fighting, all of the death, look at what happened, how incompetent the whole thing is.
Speaking of incompetence, the day before Trump was almost assassinated, in Butler, Pennsylvania, the FBI arrested this guy, this Pakistani man with ties to Iran, for trying to hire a hitman to kill President Trump. Then there was the cyber attack on Trump's campaign by Iran. Coincidence? If the #1 state sponsor of terrorism wants Trump eliminated, shouldn't that tell you right there that he's the person who should be leading this nation? Yet you'll hear the fake news, your friends, neighbors, maybe even your relatives spew the lies that Trump is a dictator, a rapist, a felon.
We begin this hour with the Republican Party's slow march into autocracy, led by Donald Trump, the one-day dictator wannabe.
She is a prosecutor running against a felon.
I can say that Donald Trump is a racist, and I can say that he uses racism as political currency.
Isn't it interesting, though, that the same people who despise Trump most likely advocated for the lockdowns, the forced vaccines, the masking, called the cops on my daughter and me when we went to the playground during the lockdowns? Yeah, that's a true story. A cop threatened to arrest me and put my then 3-year-old child into Child Protective Services because she dared go on the seesaw after the government closed it down for safety reasons. See a theme here? The Democrats are using their fake news friends to gaslight you into believing that Trump is the one that's the threat to democracy. Instead, we know the truth. We know they want to call us the weirdos. They want to say we're the ones brainwashed.
The Republican weirdness goes even deeper.
These are weird people on the other side.
It's not just a weird style that he brings. It's that this leads to weird policies.
People might just be searching for the word weird and associating with Republicans.
I see what the Republican agenda looks like every day. It is weird.
The fake news media can portray MAGA as the weird boogeyman all they want, but most American values, they align with the MAGA movement. It's why during the presidential and vice presidential debates, I want the candidates to also be asked these 3 simple questions. 1, how many genders are there? 2, can men become pregnant? And number 3, should a child be able to change their gender? The answer to those 3 questions will tell you just how radical the Harris-Walz regime is. Anti-family, anti-God, and advocates of total government control. Did you know that Walz signed into law a bill that takes a parent's rights away if that parent refuses to chemically castrate and mutilate their child? It's why come November, I will not respect your choice if you vote for Harris, and I will not respect you either. I refuse to respect anyone actively participating in the destruction of this nation, and neither should you.